Give me this day my daily bread. Forgive me all my trespasses. And lead me not into dismay. But let me pray upon the highest hill. Let me know the beauty of thy will. And from it let me not stray, but deliver me from negativity and baptize me in your majesty and christen me with the love that is free. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. When I realize that we are one, and only with these eyes do I see. Thy word is heard from mountains high, and valleys low through summer skies, and lands of war and lands where there is peace.
That song was written by Reverend Aaron McCabe, who was ahead of me in school and behind Rose in school. She's probably now 43. She's the minister of the Unity Church at Unity Village. And, being a kid, which means she's younger than 50, she jumps up onto the platform. She usually wears like Chico's pants, and then she sits there in a Buddhist type of stance when she does her meditation. So, the song said, pray the prayer. And that's what the Lord's Prayer is. And we don't sing it in churches, and we don't do it much in churches anymore because it's very hard to sing. And yet we still know in Unity that it is the prayer that if we only said that every day to ourselves, it is a prayer of affirmation. It said, let me not stray, and that we are one. So we could just hear that song again, maybe 4 times, right? And then we could have Rose lead us in some chanting and we could go. But I'm here, I'm home. Flew in late last night, and so it's interesting when you don't really think you're in charge. When I realize I'm not in charge, let me put it in the right vernacular, right? Because I was supposed to speak next week, and I talked to Reverend Rose, and she said, well, can you speak on the 12th? And I said, well, all right. And so I was coming home tomorrow for $101 from LA. And I thought, well, that means I have to come home on Saturday instead. And I got $106. And so here I are. Shop on Thursdays at Southwest, and you can travel as well. So there's a new word that's out amongst us, and it's called pronoia. P-R-O-N-O-I-A. Anyone heard that word recently? It's not in the dictionary. However, let's define what it means. Pronoia. What word do you think that it's an anonym for? Paranoia, right. And so paranoia means what? Having false beliefs that something, someone, some place is out to get us. Yes, would you think that that's what you would, when you're paranoid, you're a little on edge, right? So this guy came up with this word, and he wrote a book. So let's breathe for a minute. Imagine, because we've said it before, and I just saw a graphic yesterday, and the word imagine was written I am, and then the A and the G were the glasses of that Lenin wore. Imagine in the middle were his glasses, and I thought, that's what we do. And it's the best use of our imagination, is when we image out what we want to see. Fear, as Reverend Rose talked about, is the worst use of imagination. Does that make sense? When we fear, we're like worrying about ucky stuff, and that's not a good use of our imagination. So pronoia is the true belief that the universe, that God, that everything out there is for us, in our favor, in my favor, and in your favor. Would that be okay? Yeah, because it's really the truth. So whether you say it's okay or not, it just is. how we find peace and where our calm comes from is when we accept it and know it to be true, at the truth of who we are. Everything is conspiring to be for us. So I'm inviting us to be proanod instead of paranoid. We're going to be proanod. So you're going to have to think about it before you say it. But that means that we know that the intelligence that is everywhere present is for us, that divine order is already right and out picturing in your life. Which means then that we have to be participants in that, correct? We have to change our thinking, and we have to know that it's all good. So that'll be a word where I'll talk about it again. But that's what we talk about in Unity and all of New Thought, is that there's infinite possibility. You guys do that, Suzanne, on when you have your women's group. Infinite possibilities. We know this. So it's all good. It's all life, which means there's action in it. There's the laws out there, and there's reason. In Unity, we call it God. Would you say yes? You'll be pro-annoyed with me? So let's just say that the definition is having faith. I know, it makes me slow down. It makes me slow down, which is good. Having faith in an infinite possibility and its ability to do for and through us like it's never been done before. The gentleman's name is Rob Brezsny, Brezsny, and the book that he wrote was Pronoia is the antidote for paranoia. So here's how he recaps that we would, instead of looking at doom and gloom, how about zoom and boom? And laugh at the foolishness of evil and hate as we summon up the brilliance to be praise and great, praiseworthy and great. And he says, no matter how upside down everything may look, let us have no fear. And what does fear mean? Right? And face everything and rise, right? Because here's his secret, he says. All of creation is conspiring to shower us with blessings. Life is crazily in love with you. Ooh, it sounds so nice. Life is crazily in love with you, brazenly and innocently in love with you. The universe always gives us exactly what we need, as we need it, and when we need it. That gives us pause, doesn't it? Isn't it sweet as a description of pronoia and the idea that divine right order is always taking place at the right and perfect time? And so think about it. You woke up this morning and already everything's going right because you're here, right? You open your eyes. Maybe even before you do that, you're breathing and our heart's beating after being unconscious, hopefully for 8 hours. Now, some of us, we have 5 and 6 hour sleep patterns, however, right? But so therein lies the truth. Just, you're in your bed, oh, wait, my heart's beating, I'm breathing. I haven't thought about doing that, and it's already happening. Some would call that a blessing, others call it magic, but we just know that it is. It is what it is. So if God is for us, the eye of the storm tells us, who can be against us? I don't think it's a who, it's a what. And the what is our thoughts. Remember when we did Daring Greatly? Get the roommate out. The roommate isn't paying any rent. Thanks very much. And, really, bye-bye now. Yeah, exactly. And you might use some other words sometimes because you really want to make sure that they get out. So our thoughts influence our thinking, which influence our actions. So be mindful of all of that. Reverend Rose talked about the other side of fear 2 weeks ago, right? And that fear is really a waste of imagination. And we can either run from it and suffer, or we can face it and order a pizza. That's so cute. And we just had National Pizza Day 2 days ago. Maybe we'll have our own pizza day, right? And then I invite us to live as the question, what is ours to do every day? How will we show up in the world to be a difference in everyone's life? And then we had power versus force. I got to meet David Hawkins when he was at Unity Village when I worked in the retreats department. Quite interesting that all these years later, it's still so pertinent to us. How can we be power-filled as opposed to forceful? And Yoda, of course, do or don't do. There's no trying. Isn't that the truth? Do you find that with yourself? So this morning I thought, all right, Therese, just do it, as I set my alarm for 6 p.m. Thank you, God, for the bodily functions that make you have to do things. And then I looked at my watch. Oh, okay, time to be up already, Therese, right? So there's no trying, just do it. And what I always say is, let's stop the tapes. We have to unlearn what we have learned that doesn't serve us, right? That's what Reverend Rose talked about. And also just stop the old tapes in the back of your head that get engaged. Stop them. And power, the chakra, and our 12 powers lay right here in our voice. Philip is the, disciple, apostle. And it's power. So I was with a friend last week, and she just had thyroid cancer removed. And so she said to me, what do you think it means? I said, I'm not sure. What do you think it means? Because, of course, I don't have anybody's answers, although I used to think I did. I'm over that, right? And she said, well, I looked it up in Louise Hay, and it said something about power. I said, well, how do you feel? And she said, well, I don't feel like I have power. This is a woman who lives on the hillside of Santa Barbara. I mean, think millions of dollars of homes and things like that, who lives this, one of us would say, a fabulous life. And she has not been honoring the truth of who she is inside. And so there goes your power, right? There goes your power. So we had a great conversation about it without me metaphysicalizing her. Right? Because that's when we start shooting on other people, it doesn't feel good. So the questions are asked so she can draw out the answers herself. One of the other things that I love that Reverend Rose talked about was Roosevelt's address. Our true destiny is not to be ministered unto, but to minister to the fellowship of all life. That's where the title came from. And that's what you guys are already doing here. Reverend Rose says this church has an energy-giving consciousness. And who's the church? Everyone present, right? And as we are with each other, we raise our consciousness. That's what's happening. We get to be that. And of course, the winter meetings I was just at Unity I got to be in Walnut Creek, which was fabulous. And to sit with the leaders of Unity, to have an open dialogue with 60 or 80 people. We didn't have to go up to a mic. You could just speak where you were from, and everybody could talk about what they thought their idea was on how Unity could have unity within Unity and in the world. So we already have a peace statement, a joint peace statement. We have an interdependence peace statement, and we have a peace statement. And so how is it, and one on diversity. So there's 3 statements, and everybody thinks there should be more statements. So maybe we'll see some more of those. What does unity, not a stance against, but a statement for. So when you read the peace statement, it's not about being against war. It's about being for peace. So you're going to see more of these things. I've never been in a group of Unity ministers where everybody was kind and everybody got to speak. It was quite empowering. So the measures of truth, Hawkins says, of the principles we primarily live by is how it is we show up. So I was thinking, how does that already manifest here? And you guys already have it. You have your mission statement. Yes? This is what you said you've come here to be. Co-creating a spiritual home of loving acceptance, empowering all to their highest potential. Right? You're doing that. How do you do that? What does it look like? Those are your core values. Your core values, unconditional love. We see the Christ in others through our hearts. We see good everywhere and in everyone. Enlightenment is your second one. Knowing God is all there is, and all there is God. We awaken to our oneness. There's that word again. Thank you, friend, for that. The oneness with each other and the oneness with all life. We had a moment, didn't we, the other night? You guys all did. We didn't see it in California, where there was the full moon, the meteor, and something else. On Friday night, we had so much rain and stuff, we didn't get to see it. Talk about oneness. So maybe the world is conspiring to show us just that. So we, unconditional love, enlightenment, acceptance. We accept all life as perfect expression of God. We trust all is in divine order. And your fourth one, spiritual growth, conscious intention to practice expressing Christ within us. We expand our divine understanding of self and others. So when people look at your website and they go, oh, I wonder if I want to go there, they're going to know what to expect. And you can know what to expect for each other and fulfill what Hawkins says is the measures of truth for who you've come here to be. We are grateful that Jesus is calling in to say, hey, good, everything's going well. So these are the powers of consciousness. Your mission, how you know people will be expected, how people will know what they can expect from you between your mission statement and your core values. Your core values say, this is how I'm going to show up, and this is how we expect you to show up. So when someone isn't that way, I could say, hey, Karen, I'm going to call you higher. Or she's saying, hey, Therese, I'm going to call you higher. So that we can come here and be love. And we can know, and we can see, and we can accept. Because we already have a conscious intention. So the affirmation I wrote is, I see, I know, I accept. With conscious intention. So let's say that together. I see, I know, I accept with conscious intention. I am one with all of life. I am one with all of life. I had no idea that this talk title had been changed. So this is how we know spirit works, because that's it. I'm one with all of life. So if I am one with all of life, not this way, one, because in here there's a space, right? And so if we're one with all of life, then we can only see good in each other. We can only treat each other well. We can only come from power of love versus any kind of force. Except for when we're on 95 or we're in that, 10 or less line, right? So I imagine I'm driving up US, 101 in California, and it's raining. They don't know how to drive in rain in California because they never have rain. Mudslides, and I'm just holding on to my friend's Audi that she allowed me to use. Driving just, all right, God, let me just get there. Let me be safe. Let me just know, So I'm driving like the grandma in the right lane, and people are honking, So unity is a practical, positive approach to Christianity, to being Christ-like, which is what your mission says. We see the Christ in you, and I honor it. And thank you for seeing it in me as well. And that's where it happens, is when we're able to do that with each other. So Mike Dooley, I always think of Leslie when I see anything from Mike Dooley. This was his note from the universe. What if every unexpected delay, postponement, or redirectment means only at the very last second, right before the scheduled manifestation, I had an even better idea? Would it be okay? Which means we got to let go of our control. And then this from one of the rather easy books to read by Charles Fillmore, Atom's Smashing Power of Mind. I'm being sarcastic. He says on page 75, do not be surprised and disappointed if everything does not work out according to your ideas. The all-seeing mind, isn't that a fabulous description of God? The all-seeing mind should not be judged by the dim and short vision of the mortal. Do you think at some times in your life you've had a dim or short vision? Yes, at least not yet today. It's only 10:30 though. What may be at first to seem to a failure to you may prove to be a clearing away of rubbish that will open the way in mind to a larger life. What may at first seem to you a failure may prove to be a clearing away of rubbish that will open the way in the mind to a larger life. That's what the song Swing Wide the Doors is all about. Swing wide the doors, open your mind, open your heart, let in the light. And then, of course, the other song that you all sang was Be a Blessing to the World. the heart, the voice, the hands. That's us. So let us pray. For all that we are grateful, we say thank you. As we move from the head to the heart, knowing that as we come from the power of love, life changes. Our consciousness is contagious and transforms those with whom we are in contact, knowingly or unknowingly. And so, God, we are grateful for unity of Merritt Island that allows us to call ourselves higher, to be the change we want to see, to be the love and the power versus the force, to face everything and rise so that we can be who we've come here to be without hesitation our core values, to know that we are here to fulfill our mission, and to be pro-noia as we go forward this week, knowing that all is for us, always and in all ways. We are grateful. Thank you. Amen.